Welcome to your deep dive. Today, we're going to be exploring Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy.
Yeah, Diddy.
Okay.
So we're going to be exploring his career from his crazy rise to fame to like all the recent controversy around him.
Right.
We've got a bunch of different sources for this one.
Yeah.
We have a really great YouTube video essay that breaks down like his whole history,
Okay.
and then also some firsthand accounts from people in the hip hop world.
Wow. Okay, so this is going to be good.
Yeah, it should be pretty interesting.
I think what makes Diddy's story so fascinating is like how much it mirrors the changes in the music industry,
Oh, interesting.
especially in hip hop.
Okay.
You know, it brings up all these questions about like artistic integrity and like
Yeah.
where's the line between celebrating a culture and exploiting it and like the price of fame.
You know me, I love a good rise and fall story,
Of course.
but this one's
This one's complicated.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
really complicated. Diddy was so known for being like larger than life,
Oh, yeah.
so much money,
Mm.
iconic image.
Yeah, business acumen. Like
Yeah.
he was a businessman for sure.
Yeah. But then behind the scenes, there's like this whole darker story of abuse and exploitation.
Yeah, and it went on for decades.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Okay, so where do we even start with someone like Diddy?
Well, to understand like his impact, I think we have to go back to his beginnings.
Okay.
So imagine like New York City in the 80s,
Okay.
like the city's dealing with the crack epidemic.
Right.
There's like all these economic problems.
Yeah.
That's where Diddy grew
That's
up.
so different from like the image that we all know.
It's a huge contrast, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's super important to understand that background because it shaped like his hustle and ambition.
Right.
He went to Howard University.
Oh, wow.
He was a party promoter,
Okay.
honing those entrepreneurial skills.
Yeah.
And then he got an internship at Uptown Records.
Uptown Records. That was
Yeah.
like the early hip hop.
Huge
Boy.
powerhouse.
Okay.
And that's where Diddy, or Puffy as he was known back then,
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
yeah,
Puff Daddy.
he started to see just how much potential hip hop had to make money.
Okay.
He could just see it.
Yeah.
He was like this natural at taking street culture and making it mainstream. He
Interesting.
got the power of image and branding like way before a lot of other people in hip hop.
So he wasn't just a music producer. He was like a marketing visionary.
Exactly.
Oh.
And that vision really took off when he met Biggie Smalls.
Biggie's that.
Yeah.
Okay.
They worked together and it like brought in this whole new era of hip hop that was commercially successful and like sample heavy,
Right.
and it dominated the charts.
Wow.
Like think about Juicy and Big Papa.
Oh, those are classic.
Right. Those were game changers
Yeah.
for sure.
But I've also heard some criticism about like Diddy's production.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't there some debate about how much he relied on samples?
Yeah, for sure. So in like the early days of hip hop,
Okay.
sampling was like this art.
Yeah.
You'd take little pieces of other songs
Yeah.
and weave them together into something new.
Right.
It was like paying homage to the people who came before you, but also like pushing the boundaries.
Yeah.
Diddy kind of flipped that.
Go on.
Instead of like subtly using samples, he would use these really prominent samples.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes like whole sections of other tracks.
Oh, wow.
It was bold.
Yeah.
And it worked commercially.
Yeah.
But it started all these conversations about like, is this really original?
Right.
Is hip hop production getting oversimplified?
Interesting.
Yeah.
So on one hand, you have this huge success.
Yeah,
But on the other hand, there's this tension about how he's doing it.
absolutely.
So how did that play out as his career went on?
Well, that tension got even bigger after Biggie died in 97.
This is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
So after Biggie's death, Diddy releases I'll Be Missing You,
Right?
which is like this huge tribute to Biggie.
Huge.
And it samples Every Breath You Take by The Police.
Exactly.
Right.
So, and that song like catapulted Diddy to superstardom, even though he wasn't really considered like a great rapper.
Right.
Yeah, it really cemented his image as like a master of spectacle and emotion.
Yeah. And I remember that music video, everyone in the shiny suits,
Oh, yeah.
that seemed to like signal a new era of hip hop.
You're totally right. The shiny suit era,
Yeah.
it was all about like extravagance and lavish parties and this really polished look.
Yeah.
And it really solidified this idea that image and being marketable
Yeah.
could be more important than lyrical skill or like artistic innovation.
Right.
And that shift went beyond music, too.
Okay.
Like, think about BT's Uncut and all the video vixens.
That's an era I kind of have mixed feelings about. Like,
Yeah.
there was so much glamour and energy.
Yeah.
But there was also so much, like, hypersexualization of women.
Yeah, especially Black women.
Yeah.
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
It's where the conversation about Diddy and, like, the whole industry starts to get...
Uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, are we celebrating Black female beauty, or are we exploiting it for profit?
Right.
It's blurry.
Yeah, and while all this is going on, Diddy's, like, personal brand is just skyrocketing.
Oh, yeah.
He's hanging out with, like, everyone in Hollywood,
Right.
making a name for himself outside of music.
Exactly. And that carefully crafted image
Yeah.
and his growing power and connections.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
think it shielded him from, like, criticism and being held accountable
Yeah.
for a long time.
But even during all this success, it seemed like there were some cracks starting to show.
Oh, yeah.
Like, artists like Mace the Lock's Black Rob, they all started leaving Bad Boy Records.
Right.
And they were saying that there was exploitation and, like, shady business practices going on.
Yeah, and this is where the abuse allegations become a big part of the story.
Oh.
Mace especially has been really vocal about how he was treated under Diddy.
Right.
It points to, like, this potentially much darker side to Diddy's empire.
And Mace leaving to become a pastor was, like, a huge deal.
It was.
Looking back on it.
Yeah.
It seems like a really profound statement.
It does.
Yeah.
And it's especially interesting because Diddy actually ends up in a system that's kind of similar to the one he was accused of creating.
Wait, what do you mean?
So remember his ventures with Diageo?
Oh, yeah. Ciroc.
Yeah, first with Ciroc Vodka.
Right. And then De Leon Tequila.
Exactly. Those partnerships were initially seen as these big successes,
Right.
but they actually end up being part of his downfall.
Hold on. I need a little more context here.
Yeah.
How did these partnerships that seemed like really smart business moves,
Yeah.
how did they contribute to his decline?
Well, that's what we're going to dive into next.
Oh,
Diddy's move into the world of expensive liquor showed the limits of playing the corporate game
okay.
when the rules are designed to favor certain people.
Got it.
Okay. Yeah.
So let's get into it. Okay, so let's get into these Diageo partnerships and, like, how they connect to Diddy's downfall.
Yeah.
It seems weird that those ventures, which everyone was calling a success,
Yeah.
like, how did those lead to his decline?
Yeah, you've hit on a really important point.
Okay.
People assume that success in one area just automatically means success in another.
Right.
But for Diddy, his ventures with Diageo, this global beverage company,
Yeah.
it kind of showed how imbalanced the power is in corporate America.
So it wasn't just about being a good businessman.
No.
There were, like, bigger things at play.
Exactly. Let's break it down.
Okay.
So first, Diddy partnered with Diageo for Ciroc Vodka.
Right.
That brand, like, quickly became super successful,
Yeah.
like, associated with luxury,
Yeah.
largely because of Diddy's marketing skills.
He was really good at that.
Yeah, he knew how to make things seem aspirational and opulent.
Yeah.
But then with De Leon Tequila,
Okay.
that's where things get interesting.
Okay.
So Diddy ended up suing Diageo.
Suing them.
Yeah, he accused them of racial discrimination.
Wow.
He said they didn't invest in De Leon the way they would if it was owned by a white person.
So he was basically calling out the same system he was a part of.
Yeah, in a way he was. And this is where Black capitalism comes in.
Okay.
It's this idea that Black people can succeed financially within the current system.
Right.
But Diddy's lawsuit showed a problem with that idea.
What do you mean?
So Black capitalism is working within a system that's already biased against it. It's not a fair game.
Yeah.
Diddy, even with all his wealth and influence,
Yeah.
he was still controlled by this mostly white corporate structure.
So he might have been at the table,
Right.
but he didn't get to choose what was on the menu.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it.
Okay.
And this is where the hypocrisy that a lot of people pointed out comes in.
Yeah.
Diddy built his empire off of Black talent and Black culture.
Right.
And now he's calling out that same system.
Yeah. It's complicated.
It is.
There aren't any easy answers.
So how did this lawsuit and these accusations of hypocrisy,
Mhm.
how did that affect Diddy's career and his public image?
The impact was huge.
Okay.
It led to like a ton of scrutiny and public reckoning. And then
Yeah.
around the same time, his ex-girlfriend Cassie and other women came forward with accusations.
Right.
Which made things even worse for his reputation.
So it seems like even though he was incredibly successful,
Yeah.
he was ultimately brought down by the same systems he was trying to work within.
I think that's a very good observation.
Yeah.
And it brings up this question, can you really have equality
Yeah.
in a system that's designed to be unequal?
That's a really tough question.
Yeah.
I don't think we can answer it here.
Yeah.
But it makes me wonder, like,
Yeah.
what responsibility do artists like Diddy have
Yeah.
to address these problems?
Yeah.
Especially when they have so much influence.
Right. They could change things.
Yeah.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
It gets to the heart of this much bigger conversation about art and commerce and social responsibility.
Yeah. And